work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsScope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsScope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. All right. Hello, everybody, on this 20th day of September, Wednesday. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. We're over the hump day here on Sports Scope. Got Jamie Pags. He's from the Northeast Streaming Sports family, but he's got his own brand, had his own brand for a while. I want to know how long. He's a super fan out of Philadelphia. Guy's got a great personality, real good sense of humor, and a really cool guy to go to the game with, particularly if you were in the Philadelphia area. Going to ask him about that here in a few minutes. Also, Robert Sarver is his name, I guess. The owner of the Phoenix Suns has now decided to sell his team, and also he owns the Phoenix Mercury. I think that's the WNBA team, I want to say. So he's going to sell both of those teams. I'm going to explain why that is a really, really slippery slope. Dak Prescott, there was a stat I read on him today. Want to revisit that. Remember, we had an interview with Jim Jeffcoat. Thank you, Jim, for coming on the program yesterday. I've got a quote by him about a scenario with Dak Prescott situation that I was going to talk about with Cooper Rush and whatnot. So anyways, but first, let me give you my Power 5, okay? I like to do this every week, once a week. It changes every week, the NFL Power 5. Also, let me remind you that I'm going to get to that Auburn story here that's brewing about possibly that coach being fired, which I expect him anytime the Auburn football coach to be fired. So, NFL Power 5. Number 5. Let's go start at the bottom, work our way up. Philadelphia. Been on Philadelphia a lot here lately. I'm going to ask Jamie about this here in a minute when he comes on around 15 after the hour. Philadelphia leads the league in total offense. Obviously, they're 2-0. They're 14th in defense. Tua is ranked 9th. Not Tua. Jalen Hurts is ranked 9th and QBR rating. So you look at their offensive line, you look at their defensive line. I've went on and on about their secondary. James Bradbury, Darius Slay, both of those guys have lived up to their billing. Mr. Rosenfeld has done really well with putting this roster together. That is it's a general manager there. Ask Jamie about that here in just a moment. Miami, number 4. Miami. Now, we saw what they're a middle of a road defense, but Tua leads the league in passing yards right now. Obviously, that was a great comeback against the Ravens. Ravens are a very good team on the road. Did not see. This is my number 4 team, Miami Pickles. Miami defense, they're missing their second corner. He's going to be back. Byron Jones here in a few weeks. Like Xavier Howard. Looks like he may be banged up. I don't like them this week. They probably won't be in my top 5 this week, by the way. because I think they play Buffalo per se. So they're a little banged up, but I still got them at number 4 as of right now. It's the 21st of September. I've got Miami in at number 4 here. That was a great comeback. Tua also got 6 touchdowns last week. This offense is coming at you from different angles. They're just about what I predicted them to be. Going to be really, really explosive, and they have been. Remember, they beat the Patriots in week 1. Patriots were a playoff team last year. Ravens probably would have been a playoff team if healthy last year over the rebuilding Pittsburgh team. So they've got a good resume. So I'm okay with putting them in the top 5 at number 4. Number 3, Tampa. Now, Tampa, number 1 in points allowed, okay? Very much injured at the receiving core. Godwin is still on and off, coming back. Remember, he's coming back from a pretty serious injury last year. Now Mike Evans, he'll be suspended. Green Bay's coming up next week. Sunday, excuse me. Green Bay will be coming up Sunday. But, that defense looks better. I know they've played subpar quarterbacks. Dak Prescott got injured. They played against one of the biggest turnover machines in the league, and Jameis Winston. But they also cost a couple of fumbles on the running backs there that really cost them that game as well. Brady's getting rid of the ball quickly. They signed Cole Beasley, by the way, former Buffalo Bill. They signed him. They're going to bring him in. Running game looks as good as it's going to look. Other words, the defense is so much better this year that I think their pass defense is better this year. Their run fit defense, not as good, but still pretty good. Okay. And then you've got Tom Brady there. They beat a Saint team that had a 4-game winning regular season against them in the regular season. 4-game winning streak. So I do like Tampa at number 3. Number 2, okay, 18th in total defense is Kansas City. I like that. They went to a new scheme this year. They're replacing Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. They replaced one of their corners with a rookie. That rookie gets hurt, and they still got a pick 6 to beat the LA Chargers. Mahomes, not even affected by the loss of Tyreek Hill. The running game looks better. He's checking down more. I really think that this team is capable. Of course, they're leading right now. We saw the struggles of Denver. The Raiders are 0-2. That's going to be a good game, by the way. Raiders at Tennessee. Both of them ticked off. Raiders should have won that game going away at home against Arizona. Tennessee totally demoralized. Now, Tennessee played on a Monday night, but here's the catch to that. Their starters, Derrick Henry, and Ryan Tannehill, they only played 3 quarters. They were blown out so bad by the Buffalo Bills. And, of course, number 1, I mean, they're like the Georgia right now. They're so far ahead in the AP votes. If they were a college team, Buffalo Bills they feel like they're head and shoulders above anybody in the league. Today, the playoffs don't start today. We're in week 2. It's September 21st. It's not December 21st, and it's definitely not January 21st. So we got a ways to go before we want to crown them. Like Dennis Green said, if you want to crown their rear end, crown their rear end. But as of right now, my Power 5 would be Buffalo there at let's see. Yes. Hold on. Ooh, let me see. Jamie sent me a text here. Let me make sure he got the link. If not, we will try this again. If he didn't get it, I'm gonna resend it. We're gonna do this on the fly, guys. Let's see. If he didn't get it, we will do this again, and I know how to do it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, Jamie. Yeah, he said he did got it. Whew. I didn't want to have another on the air moment like I did last week with Jim Jeffcoat. Man, he was great, wasn't he? Jim Jeffcoat, former Dallas Cowboy. So, okay, here we go. I don't have his walk-up music, but I'm going to ask him about it because he's got it. He does the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeffcoat. And, of course, Jamie Pags here, Philly sports guy coming on right now. Jamie, good to see you, man.
What's up, my brother? How you feeling?
You too, brother. I'm good, man. So, okay, I just went over my Power 5. Now, for those of you who don't know Jamie, he is a super fan. I'm going to ask you a few questions about how you got started and all that here in just a minute. My top 5 now, I've got Philadelphia at 5th, below teams like Miami, Tampa, Kansas City, and Buffalo. Where would you put the Eagles in your in your rankings? If you had a power ranking of all the whole league, not just the division, but of all 32 teams, where would you rank the Eagles right now?
Not trying to sound a little too, excited about the fact that we're 2-0 and what
Yeah.
I call the real preseason.
Yeah.
I think 5th or 4th would be about right. I don't trust Miami.
Yeah.
I think that Baltimore, they really showed exactly how Baltimore is,
Yeah.
and not necessarily that Miami's got a pretty good team, and
Yeah.
the fact that Tua has been putting in a lot of work shows. But I still don't trust them yet. So
Okay.
I would put them below us. I actually would put Detroit probably somewhere close to the honorable mention of the top 5. The way
Oh,
that they
really?
played the last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
especially how many points they got against Washington, and then
Yeah.
how easily I felt that the Eagles took care of the Vikings.
Yes.
Those two things specific got me thinking that Detroit's a much better team than and could be for real,
Yeah.
more so than I was expecting. Like I said, I thought that Minnesota would put up a much tougher fight, and it
Yeah.
just they couldn't move the ball, they couldn't do anything, which was a surprise to me.
Kirk Cousins doing Kirk Cousins like things on primetime Monday Night Football.
Right. So, but I agree that the Bills are in the mix. Kansas City is up there.
Yeah.
I like San Diego. Maybe.
Oh, no, I didn't put the chart. My top 5 is Buffalo, Kansas City. Now Tampa. Jim didn't like Tampa too much.
No,
They got a
I don't
really good
trust Tampa
defense
either.
this year.
Yeah, I don't think Tampa's worthwhile. Now, I think
Okay.
that they are frauds, and that they have been. I don't think the Saints are very good either. So, the fact that they had such a hard time with them, I think that they got lucky against Dallas.
Wow.
It was just that I think
Man.
that Dallas's offense isn't very good.
Okay.
Uh, but Dallas is getting way too much pressure on them, and I think that that's going to come back to bite them. The fact that they can't score many points. They had the
Yeah.
same problem against the Saints. I think that Tampa's in for a long season. They could make the playoffs, but I don't have them as a power group. I think that the NFC is going to go through a big change this year in terms
Okay.
of good teams and bad teams. I think that Detroit could have a really big comeuppance this year. I think that Green Bay may make it, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a fight for them
Well,
to get in
they
the
play
wild card.
Tampa Sunday. We're going to find out a little bit about them too. Without Mike Evans.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that was such a dumb play by Mike. That whole situation was ridiculous. I'm surprised that
Yeah.
that like even that Arians is getting off with the warning that he got today from the NFL. Like it's like that whole situation. What's he doing out there? You're not a
He was
coach.
in
You're
coaching
not the
mode
owner.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a coach and you're not the owner. So
Yeah.
you shouldn't be out there. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I feel about that. But
You know,
I
I
guess he gets
watched
to
that game, Jamie. I actually took the opposite approach. I felt like that Tampa was really, I mean, plus it, I was really concentrated on it because I had the Saints plus 2.5. Okay. Remember, they beat these guys 4 straight in the regular season. Shut out Brady. That's unbelievable in Tampa last year. But I thought that they had total control. I mean, Brady was ticked, man. He was mad most of this game. I mean, it was as mad as he's been back since his first year when they played the Bears on that Thursday night game when he's going off on the sideline. Remember, he forgot what down it was. He was so furious, and they lost to the Bears at the Bears. And I was telling my dad, I
said
said,
Nick
man.
Foles. He likes losing to Nick Foles.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. Why did the Bears? Man, don't get me started. That's just Nick Foles has got his number. He needs to change his number. I think the Saints, but they were really frustrated. I felt like that Lattimore, he lost his cool there, man. I don't know what it looked like. It was between Lattimore and Fournette originally, and then Evans just jumps in there and pushes them out of the way.
I mean, realistically, I mean, Lattimore is a chirper. He always has been a chirper,
Big time.
that's part of his game. So I can appreciate, I can appreciate that type of player. If you could back it up some and you could chirp, then chirp away. But it was Arians that got involved with him, and then Tom Brady got involved, and then it was like all like this is all going back and forth, all converging on Lattimore. So if you're letting somebody get that involved with you, that, like I said, Arians coming out there because that's where Mike Evans goes, because Arians is yelling back and forth, and Mike Evans took exception to that, and then came out and literally just was the third man in a fight like hockey. You know what I mean? It's just like you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm surprised it was only one game. I'm sure it's because it's Tampa Bay and it's Tom Brady that it was only one game. That had to go into some of the thought.
See, I
process.
didn't know about the Arians mouthing part. That's interesting. I didn't hear that aspect of it.
Yeah, and that's where, like, when you see, that's where the chirping really began.
Oh, okay.
And then Lattimore chirped in, then Brady turned around and chirped in. It was like but it was all Arians, and Arians was in a spot he shouldn't have been. Like I said, he got a warning from the NFL. I'm surprised it wasn't more, but the old man should go back up to the booth because you ain't where you're supposed to be. You know, it's
there's rumors.
Go back to the home. You retired.
Yeah.
You know, so.
All right, brother. Hey, let me ask you some stuff about you. I haven't got a chance to talk to you. You kind of know my background. So how long have you been a air quote super fan?
So
since a kid with your dad or what?
No, so I have been getting painted up for Eagles games for over 20 years.
Okay.
However, I wasn't ever recognized because I wouldn't do it at home games because we had a guy who did that, and he would paint his face and wear shoulder pads and everything, and and then he was going through a transition where he was going to retire, and I got recognized at a Saints game, the playoff game where Alshon Jeffrey missed the ball. And I was down at that game, and I had a couple of videos go viral then. Yeah. And so you could say that was the birth of the Philly sports guy. But the truth of the matter is I've always gone to games. I've usually worked at the stadiums so that I didn't have to pay for to go there. I would just be there and watch the games that way and things like that. Yeah.
You grew up in Philadelphia?
Yes. Born and raised in Philly.
Man, they need to give you the keys to the city.
Not yet. I mean, you got to do it for a long time and do a lot of charity work. You don't just be given anything in this world. But so I've learned just how to enjoy the game really well and get people around me also to enjoy it. And then it was like people were asking me to paint my face, and it like I said, it culminated with the Saints game getting recognized. Next thing you know, I went down to your neck of the woods for the draft. I never had been to. I'd been to the one in Philly, but
that was huge, right?
Oh my Lord! It was the first time I was ever in Nashville, and I had the time of my life. And I took over that draft. It was like a big, like they had never seen me before, and they've never seen anybody like me. And not that I'm not patting myself on the back, but there are times when I can work a room, and it was It was the perfect. I was able to geek out in that room because that was like I was around a whole bunch of guys that are passionate
Yeah.
about football the way that I am, and it was just an amazing experience. And I took full advantage. And
Yeah.
since then, the NFL has kind of said, "Hey, this is the guy. This is a good guy to show because
Yeah.
he's just
I've
full of
seen you on
energy."
TV 2 or 3 times. I've known you for about 2 or 3 years now, and about two I know. And I saw you just like you got a lot of camera time in the draft, this past draft.
Yes, and I make a joke
Did you
saying they
record
always
the
like
draft at home?
I don't even have cable at home. So
you don't have a home. You don't need cable.
No, that's exactly it. I mean, when I want to go see a game, I go to a local establishment,
Yeah.
or for Eagles games, I'm at the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year because they're playing in Dallas on Christmas Eve. Unless I bring my whole family down there, I'm probably going to miss that game. And
Oh
I don't know if you
man.
know about tickets to football games; they're very, very expensive.
Pickles is here.
So trying to
He's
get
even
to
got a
these
green
games
logo like you know. So how can you budget doing this? Do you get sponsorship? Are you a full-time fan? Do you have a day job?
So this is what I now do for a living.
Okay.
I mean, I've done a lot of things in my life. I'm one of those guys that doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up, and this is still part of that.
Yeah.
I am. It's funny. I am going to be in Nashville celebrating my 50th birthday,
Okay. When?
which is October. It's my birthday's October 20th. I get into Nashville on the 22nd for the Flyers against the Predators,
Well, we'll
and
have to have a few, man.
and then I'm also. I
That's a
think I'm going to
Saturday.
go to the.
Yeah, we'll have to meet up if you want
I'm
to.
going to go. I think I was considering going to the Titans Colts game.
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
and I've never been to another game.
Yeah.
I have. I've been to other games, but I've never been to another game in another conference. Like I've been to, like I've been to games, but it's
Yeah.
not like that. So it's gonna be
So
interesting
how
to
did
go
you get
there.
this? Who's sponsoring you?
So I do a lot with Philly sports trips.
Okay.
They take care of a lot of my travel and some of my tickets, and then I also am friends with a lot of super fans. And there's
Okay.
it's a fraternity of sorts.
Yeah.
So and certain super fans have the perfect seats, and I am the perfect guy to be standing next to them.
Okay.
Where you get, when you do those types of situations, the camera seems, again, I don't like to pander to a camera, but the camera likes to find me because I'm
Hey man,
loud.
you pretty charismatic. I've seen all your. I've seen a lot of them, anyways. And how many followers do you have now on TikTok?
Over 120,000.
Yeah, I've got to find you on there. I found you everywhere else, but I got to get you on TikTok. I just started like a couple of weeks ago. I got like 30. So
There you go. Hey, listen, you got to start somewhere. It was all during COVID. It was all during COVID, and then it was the draft. The draft put me over both times, over 10,000 initially, and then over 100,000 a year later. So
yeah, you could go live once you get 1,000. Just stay on there.
that is correct, and it's like that's the fun part about where you get to see the game through my eyes a little bit.
Yeah.
Where you get, the hard part is that I get excited the same way a fan would. So sometimes the screen shakes, but
yeah.
it's
Jimmy,
fun
let me
to watch.
ask you this. There was a bottle thrown at Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns. Kyler Murray was slapped on top of the face by a fan. Have you gotten any fist fights or gotten any close encounters during your fandom crazy career?
I had one guy come at me for the Tampa Bay game last year, for the playoff game. Other than that, and it was diffused pretty quickly. Like it was just, most of the time, it's fun to have me there.
Okay.
You want me there for your game. You don't want, like, I am, my rules are I don't curse, I don't sit down, and I don't shut up. So when you put all of those rules together,
Do
and
you
I'm
drink?
no, I don't
You're
drink
just
before
natural
the game.
high, huh?
Yes. Well, you know why? Especially when you go to an away stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have those three rules, when you start drinking, that first rule becomes a little bit harder to keep. So I choose not to do that. Plus, there's too many kids around.
Yeah.
I am really big on, just you have to set the right example.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia, it's so difficult because the media vilifies us in
Yeah.
every situation. So I do
Did
whatever
you
I
boo
can to
Santa
make sure.
Claus, Jamie?
I wasn't alive when Santa Claus got
But would
booed.
you boo Santa Claus nowadays?
If he was a bad Santa, maybe.
Have you been into any jail or anything in any stadium? None of that stuff.
Nah, so the new stadium doesn't have it, but the vet definitely did have a jail because so there was a video going around on TikTok right now where a
Okay.
Vikings fan was
Yeah.
giving the finger to a whole section of Eagles fans. And of
That's
course,
crazy.
nobody did anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Nobody, but that's the type of fan that will then cry after he gets smacked because he's being disrespectful to a whole
Yeah.
bunch of people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like, and that's what happens in Philly. We don't start the fights. We definitely just finish them, though.
Man, I've always heard that you are the toughest fan base in America. There's no way I would wear an opposing jersey out of the Philadelphia game. What about the
See,
76?
but it's not about that. It's
Is
really
it?
not about that.
Okay.
You could. First off, the Titans absolutely could because it's not the type.
We're
You're not
babies.
a Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Dallas Cowboys, and it's not even the Dallas Cowboys fans that are from Dallas. It's the Dallas Cowboys fans that are from Philly
Yeah.
that are we have the biggest problems with. So it's and that's where some of this media coverage comes from. It's
Yeah.
not Dallas people and Philly people fighting. It's two Philly people. One's a Dallas Cowboys fan and one's
This
a
is only,
Philly
it's
fan.
great. I love this. I love that, man. You know, because
So-
I've seen videos of Philadelphia, and I've seen some with the Jets too. You know,
Yeah, the Jets have a very raucous fan base as well.
one guy, yeah, he punched a woman in the Jets game a few years ago. You probably saw
Yep.
that.
I did. I remember that. And it's a
So,
shame because it's
yeah,
always the one that ruins it for everybody.
right.
But it's all got to change. Like I said, the mystique of the Philly fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you meet me, it's a different story. Obviously, I'm going to give you a little bit of edge, and I can banter with the best of them, and I don't have to curse to do it. I
Hey,
can
that's
berate
awesome, man.
somebody without cursing.
You go with
And
a group of fans to every game,
every game.
and it's the same group.
Well, obviously, it's whatever group that's got to pay, but it's always with Philly, the Philly sports trips.
Okay.
So I'm the Philly sports guy. You go with Philly sports trips. That just makes the most amount of sense.
So, what
But
do you
dude,
do during the day, man? You just do shows like this during the day?
I do podcasts and I do marketing. So
Okay.
I am, and I'm starting to take on. I'm starting to take on public speaking.
Okay.
That's ultimately what I feel that I'm best at. The
Mhm.
reason why I'm able to do some of the things and live the lifestyle I can
Yeah.
is because I know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
It's like when you banter back and forth and you pay somebody the right respect,
Yeah.
they give it back to you. And that's what makes football a lot of fun. The
Yeah.
violence that goes along with this, when you see the fights that happen, I find that that's ridiculous.
It
You know
is.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it
It's
at all.
not.
But hey, listen, if we were all fans of the same team, it would be really boring
Yeah.
because there would only be one team. Everybody else would be hated. We wouldn't want that team to win. So I
And
mean, it's part of
yeah. Yeah.
it's part of it all, and that's why I love doing this. And like I
Yeah.
said, I don't just do it for the Eagles. I do it for the Flyers, the Sixers, the Phillies, the Union. The Wings.
Yeah.
I do it for the ultimate frisbee team here, the Phoenix. So it's like
Man, you are hardcore.
well, I just love Philadelphia. I
Yeah.
love competition, and I love fans, and I'm a big fan of fans. So, like,
Yeah.
I know the super fans down in Tennessee.
Okay.
The guys that are all tightened up, and
Yeah.
it's all that stuff. I'm friends with
We're
them. I
probably the
love hanging out
friendliest
with them.
fans, aren't we?
Well, you're amongst them. Green Bay. Green Bay. When you're in Lambeau Field, they act all big and bad. But after that game, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
It's so different. And
Have
then
you been to every stadium?
not yet.
Okay.
I've been to about 20.
Oh, that's right. You said you haven't been to AFC games. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I go to AFC games, but only when we play.
Oh, limited play.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, like you guys, we played you guys recently, and I wasn't there for that one.
Well, we
So
played
that's
this
why I was
year.
going.
You'll probably smoke us this year at Philly, I think.
Well, you guys are having a little bit of a tough season to start, but
Yeah.
I think that it's only a matter of time before Derrick Henry gets moving.
Oh, I know you got him on your fantasy team. My bad, brother.
All three of them. So he better get moving. He better get his butt in gear. I think the Colts are just what ailed Titans. I think that the
Wow.
Colts coming into town is going to help right some of the ship. I look at this as all preseason. It's just real
Yeah.
preseason. And that's kind of the same way with every one of these teams. That there
Yeah.
are going to be teams that go 0-2 and they're going to come back and get into the playoffs pretty,
Right, right.
you know.
Cowboys went 0-2 and won the Super Bowl in '93. Jim reminded me of that yesterday. And what was I going to ask you? What about Cameo? How was your Cameo doing? You know, a lot of celebrities do that. I've told
So
my audience there.
the hard part about Cameo is that it's expensive to do
Okay.
to try to make any money for me. Like, unfortunately, it would be easier for somebody to call me up and say, "Hey, can you make a video for me? I'll give you $100,"
Yeah.
rather than go through Tammy and Cameo. Because by the time I get any, like you, I have to charge so much money because I got to paint my face, and
Yeah.
everybody else has got their hand out and takes the money before I get it.
Yeah.
So I'm not as excited about Cameo. If you want a video from me, you probably are better off just asking me, and I would make it for you rather than.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because when I
So
get painted up, then I'm painted
yeah.
up. It's when you get painted up special, it costs a lot of money to do that, and it takes a lot of time to
Mm,
just do like a minute talk.
wow. Yeah.
So,
So
but
what did you do before? I know you were in the Navy. Hey, man, I've had some crazy jobs. Security. I'm a medical carrier. I've done dishes, bar back, you name it, man. I've done it too. All those little blue collar jobs. So what did you do before this?
you're right. I was in the Navy. I did
Yeah.
work at the I did work at the Spectrum and the Vet as a busboy and a server in the restaurants in
Okay.
there. That was back when I had to wear a tuxedo shirt and everything, and we'd get to all the games. And then I've done everything. Like I've sold cars. I've been a wedding planner, a
Yeah.
bartender, a restaurant manager.
Yeah.
This is just and then most recently I was a chimney sweep and a mason
Wow.
because my father my father was in concrete, my mother was in restaurants.
Oh,
I
okay.
decided very young I wanted to go work with mom after dad had me pushing wheelbarrows of concrete. At 13, 14 years old, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go work with mom. And
Yeah.
then, ultimately, I did get back into masonry work
Yeah.
because my father would have me put up the Christmas lights on the roof.
Yeah.
So I wasn't afraid of roofs. So working on chimneys didn't seem like it was so tough a thing to do. And I
Man.
became a chimney sweep. So I'm a certified chimney sweep through and through.
Dang, brother. I tell you. Nick Saban's dad, uh, Nick's like, I don't really like school. His dad took him down. He's from West Virginia. He says he took him down to coal mine. He said, do you want to work here? Do you want to work here? And he says, I got the point. And look how hard people from West Virginia, Jimbo Fisher's from West Virginia, Jerry West is from West Virginia. They did not want to work in those coal mines. When you mentioned chimney sweeper, can you imagine working in a coal mine?
Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work and it's dirty work. I own my own business for
Yeah.
a long time, and it's hard to find
Man, you
people
look
to
like a
work.
contractor, man.
That's because I got beefy shoulders
Yeah,
and
but
really
well,
big hands. When you got big hands like this, that's what you're meant to do. You're supposed to work
yeah,
construction
yeah. I
or
was
or
asking,
gas block, one or the other.
and you said you did try out for the. Did you try out for the Eagles once?
No, I tried
Or
out
you
for the.
baseball?
There was an open call for the Mets and the Marlins.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I was a much younger child then. I was in the service, but I was good at
Yeah,
baseball. I could track a ball and throw the ball really well.
yeah,
I had, I made it to the second cuts,
yeah,
and like I could have probably stayed and tried to work out like a single A or an under A
yeah.
contract, but I was in the Navy, and they weren't going to pay for me to go to play single A ball.
I think about that movie where who was in it? Mark Wahlberg, the guy from
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
Invincible. That's with Vince
Invincible.
Papali.
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you know that guy?
I do. In fact, I'm doing a charity event that he's a board member of this Saturday. So,
Okay. That kind of looks like
I
that bar he worked at. That's what it made me think about it.
you know what? That the bar that he worked at is right down the street, actually. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
not far away from here at all. He went to Interboro High School, which is a natural rival to the high school that I went to, which was Ridley. So it's
Dang.
like we
Dang.
would play each other. We would play each other all the time in the Thanksgiving Day Bowl game,
Yeah.
and he would lose a lot.
You met this guy? He's a pretty good guy.
He's a good guy. He's a great guy, and yes, I have met him a couple of times. A real nice guy, and Philly to the core. So
Oh
it's
man.
he lives in Florida now. He likes to be in the warmer weather,
Yeah.
but he's absolutely Philly to the core. And if it's Philly, I gotta love it. So
Would you ever consider relocating to Florida, like Jack or
uh,
somebody?
you know what? I don't know that I could. I've
Okay.
lived in other places. I've lived in Detroit. I've lived in D.C. I lived in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Uh, I've always come back home.
So you
And
you're okay with the cold and all that?
yeah, I don't mind the cold. I don't like it super, super cold, but I can deal with it.
I love the South. I'm thinking about going farther south, man. I was asking, talked to Jim yesterday. He's a Dallas guy. He's a big Jalen Hurts. He likes since they both played together in college. He likes Jalen Hurts over a Kyler Murray and a Tua. Would you take Tua over Hurts?
Not even on its best day. And we saw it. We saw his best day.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw him throw six touchdowns.
Yeah,
I,
against
I
Ravens.
think that I think that Tua he's a lot better than people are putting him out to be. And the
Okay.
fact that his work ethic is showing through, that he's gaining some of the following that
Yeah.
he deserves is right. I enjoy that. However, I think that he doesn't have those it factors,
Okay.
and I think that Jalen Hurts does.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're putting all those eggs in the basket, you
Yeah.
know, I look at Tua as like a large egg, and as Jalen Hurts is a double X egg. You know what I mean? It's just that he's a much bigger egg, and I think there's a much bigger upside to
Yeah.
what Jalen Hurts can do. And we'll see this year. We're going to
Yeah.
find out a really good test with Miami this week against Buffalo.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
Who do you
don't, I
like?
don't
Who do you like in that game, Jamie?
Buffalo.
Yeah. Me too. How can you not pull against Buffalo right now? I mean, right now. They're just
Well,
they feel like
they're
Georgia in
putting
college,
memes
man.
out there right now. They're putting memes out there right now on the Eagles and Bills Super Bowl.
Oh wow.
It's like that's kind of funny to me because of course they got me in the meme because they got the
I
when they
saw
got
that.
the atypical Philly fan, it's me. But beside that, I mean, it's I think that is a great type of they both got amazing fan bases that are
Yeah.
very loyal and
Oh
have been
God.
loyal through thick and thin. And that's what makes it a lot of fun. They're
Yeah.
both working class cities, and I feel for working class cities. That's kind of thing. When you are like a when you shake somebody's hand and you feel that they're a working man,
Yeah.
that's a whole different feel than when you're shaking a lawyer's hand. And
Yeah.
like go out to Denver and you shake their hands and you can tell who's in construction and who's not, and there's more that's not.
Yeah.
That is. So I like those are the things. Like that's why I like Buffalo. I think that they would be an amazing fan base, and I feel like that we have a mutual respect for each other as
Okay.
fans.
Yeah.
They break tables. Sometimes we have to break some knuckles. But
Hey,
that's
did you go to the Super Bowl?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
So I have an interesting story about that.
Yeah.
In the 13th hour,
Yeah.
I get offered the ability to go to the game. It's $8,000 to go. It's a
Hi.
flight there.
Yeah.
ticket to the game, and a flight back.
Okay.
The guy, the guy who uh, is running the plane has got somebody who's interested, but he's already there and he's got a ticket to the game. He only needs to get back. He only wants to buy the flight back. The guy's like, you buy the whole thing or you don't buy anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like ready to buy this ticket. And last second, the guy's like, nope, can't go. He bought the ticket. That guy,
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Had what?
He's M. Night Shyamalan, the guy who does the movies. He did
Oh, okay.
The Sixth Sense and stuff like that. The
Oh, okay.
director. He's the
Oh,
director.
gotcha.
He wound up buying the ticket. He was already there and had a ticket to the game, but he wanted just a flight home. And they wound up having to buy an extra ticket. I said, well, now he already paid for it. I could go to the game.
Yeah.
I'll find my own way home. I'll walk as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I didn't care, but didn't work out that way.
How
So
did your
instead,
Super Bowl night go that night?
I
mean,
spent
what
it with
happened?
family. I spent it with family. Screamed, yelled, carried on, cried when they won, went out and celebrated in the streets. I was painted up. My cousin, who was the biggest Eagles fan that I know, and taught me about all of the, like tailgating and stuff like that,
Yeah.
had just passed away like 3 weeks before of cancer.
Oh,
So
man.
I made it. When you see my head, I usually have the mohawk, and I'm all
Yeah.
painted up. And in the back, I made like the helmet, like, hey, listen, this is for him on the helmet. So I
Man.
kind of feel like he helped us, get over the hump and win that game.
Man.
So,
Did you think that you were going to win that game, honestly, coming in, playing the Patriots?
Yes. There was just an energy that you didn't feel in 2004, and you didn't feel like I remember 1980 as well. I am that old.
Yeah.
That
He was like,
that
what, 10? I get 9.
I was like 8 years. I was like 8 years old, and we were starting to get used to seeing winning because the Phillies had won the World Series. The Flyers and the Sixers had gone to the championship and both lost. So the
Yeah.
Eagles were like the last one to go to the Super Bowl because it was started at 1981.
Yeah.
And so I kind of remember all that, but it just didn't have the same energy
Wow.
as 2017
Who,
did. It was something special.
Johowski? Wasn't he your quarterback then? Ron
Jaworski. Ron Jaworski.
Jaws?
Yep. Ron Jaworski was the quarterback. And in 2004, it was Donovan McNabb.
God, throwing up on the field. The bit had killed you watching that last drive. It taking forever.
Well, you know what? I used to blame it a lot on Donovan. I've thought about this a lot
Andy
more.
Reid.
And I blame it more on Andy Reid. And I think that in the process, it's like things have been he had always had a problem with timing, and being able to work out the time and such. And ultimately, Donovan McNabb knew that, and he was nervous because this is where he didn't know how to call his own plays. He had to rely on Andy Reid, and it wasn't coming through. It didn't happen quickly enough, and he knew it, and he got more upset about it, and he threw up. I don't think it's there was a lot of pressure on him to come back and win that game.
Yeah.
And throwing up, it's not necessarily the best thing, but when you throw up, you usually feel better.
Right.
So I kind of feel like he got it out and he was ready to feel better about things, but the plays didn't come through very much at all.
Yeah. The T.O. had a great game that day.
He did.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he destroyed the entire team afterwards.
Yeah. Hugh Douglas, man. My big
That's funny that you remember that.
Yeah. Hey, man, I got a memory like an elephant, brother. I got a memory when it comes to that. I'm a big NFL fan myself. When the Titans first got here, when they became the Titans, not the Tennessee Oilers, Jamie, the Titans, when we had our own stadium, we had our own team. The first year in 1999, I went to the opening game with my brother-in-law. Kind of looks like you, kind of reminds me of you a little bit. He don't paint up, though. I'm 18. We go. They win the first game. We're joking around after they beat Cincinnati like 38-37. Super Bowl. and then they mess around and make the playoffs. I pull one of your deals. I don't know if you've ever done this in your early days. I waited 6 hours in line, very cold in January, to get tickets. This is before the internet really taken off. People's offering me, Jamie, double my money. I think these were like 245-yard line, upper level seats. They might as well have been in the suite for me with our budget, right? And we go to the first game. It's a playoff game. It's the Music City Miracle against Buffalo, of all teams. Just played on Monday. And we're hugging people. And you can kind of feel what I was talking about. Hugging the people, walking down the street. Titans, hugging more strangers on the street, high fives with the police. I mean, it was just crazy. So we thought God wanted the Tennessee Titans. We're a big faith-based town. And when the Tennessee Titans come up 1 yard short for that time, dude, it just dropped out, man. What's the lowest moment in your – that was my lowest, man. My highest was the University of Tennessee winning the national championship in 1998 over Florida State. Do you remember their most heartbreaking moment as a fan?
Losing against Tampa Bay to close up the vet in the NFC Championship game.
02?
In 2002.
I knew. Oh, man. That was a close game.
Yeah, and that guy's still running with the ball. The Barber. Kiki Barber.
Yeah.
Not Tiki, whatever it was.
Rondé Barber?
Rondé.
Quarterback?
Rondé. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
I hate both of the Barbers. So
yeah.
They both make my list.
Better than the running back, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's that's probably the hardest moment to swallow. You know, and I've been to some tough ones. You know, I remember watching one of my most vivid moments and memories of football has the Eagles losing. Actually, I was there and I watched Joe Montana score 4 touchdowns in our end zone, the end zone that I was still sitting in.
Yeah.
You know, I was like sitting on the rail in the 600 level at the vet, and I watched him score 4 touchdowns in 5 minutes and 28 seconds to beat like the Grand Green defense, where Seifert was ready to pull him out of the game because he was getting beat up the entire game. And he's like, "Don't pull me out. I just figured him out." And then he said it out loud afterwards, and he's literally threw 4 touchdowns.
What year was this?
5 minutes.
87?
Something like that. Yeah, it was because it was Seifert that was coach. It wasn't what's his face anymore.
Oh, wow. Now I can't remember. Mr. West Coast offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was and literally just was an amazing thing to watch. And so when you see that and then you watch Tom Brady do Tom Brady stuff, you know, it's like you can understand why there's
Bill
still
Walsh
some.
Is what Pickles said. Bill Walsh.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. You could still see why some people believe that Joe was really the best. Truth of the matter is, like, Tom's the best. Tom's the best.
I was about to ask you about this. Some people still think, you know, they talk about the defense, and I'm out of Tennessee. People still making Peyton Manning excuses, and I don't know. Do you follow any college teams like that? Do you follow Penn State?
I follow Penn State just to the fact that I have no choice because it's always around me.
Yeah.
I don't live and breathe them. You know, I didn't go to Penn State. Unfortunately, Philadelphia doesn't have a real college that's here. So if like Temple starts to get good, I will follow them.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see me go to many colleges for games. Just
no Villanova games in college basketball.
You know, they're harder tickets to get than going to an Eagles game.
Get out of here.
Those tickets are ridiculously expensive.
God.
You know, like I'd have to enroll just to be able to pay for some of the tickets.
I was going for that former coach you had. I love the way that got dressed.
Yeah, I mean, he was a fantastic coach. It's a shame that he's no longer the coach.
Do you think he got caught up in this whole woke climate? Somebody made that analogy that this whole political climate and this entitlement, the transfer portal, and just all of that made him. He's only like 60, man. He looks a young 60 too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was happy with the NIL.
The NIL, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's really what I think drove it. It's he didn't want to play favoritism, and
Yeah.
that's what the NIL is going to start to do in a way that is beyond what people can understand.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Is that you're going to have the super entitled in college because they're
Yeah.
getting paid to just be athletes when they're already getting paid by the school. I feel that if you're getting an NIL contract, you should pay for school.
Okay.
Let that
That's interesting. That's
let
interesting.
that
Yeah.
yeah, let that go to somebody else who's in more need
Yeah.
because there's no need for you to get free college because they're paying you to go to that school. So you should
Right.
pay to go to that school and give the scholarship to somebody who's more deserving, than
And
just than an athlete.
and it's starting to get into the millions now with some of these quarterbacks.
Oh yeah.
You know. I wasn't going to ask you this, Jamie, but I don't know. Did you hear about because you're a 76ers, the NBA. There was a report today that Robert Sarver of the Phoenix Suns, he's talk about this cancel culture. He's selling the Phoenix Suns over these allegations. And I'm thinking, I don't know. We might not want to go too far with this stuff, at least give a guy, forgive him, give him one more chance. They've already got a $5 million fine. You had the suspension. Maybe been 10 million. I think it was 10 million, and the suspension for a year. What is your thoughts on that? He's selling the team now. That came out today, man.
I think that the media makes things very difficult.
Yes.
And when you get on the bad side of the media, there's no getting back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much money you have. Truth of the matter is that he's going to live his life just fine, and he'll still have his millions of dollars and not necessarily be in the limelight. And
Yeah.
because ultimately, when you do something wrong, it feels like everybody's got free reign to be disrespectful to you,
Yeah.
and that's what he's starting to get now. And it's like I understand that hey, listen, I don't need this.
Yeah.
I was on I owned all this stuff. I'll sell the team, make my billions of dollars,
Yeah.
and I'll go somewhere else. I'll go buy a part of another team, and I won't be the face, and he'll be just fine.
That was my thought on that. Because I see guys like this, and I screenshotted a few comments from players like LeBron and let's see, LeBron James. What did he say? I'm so proud to be part of a league that's committed to progress. And then who else said something? Not CJ McCollum. I wanted to say that who's that guy? Draymond Green had some kind of comment like that, similar to say. And then my rebuttal to something like that is Isaiah Thomas got a the one that played for the Detroit Pistons, not the Boston Celtics, the original Isaiah Thomas. He had some serious allegations. He settled a civil suit and with the Knicks. This is about 14 years ago. And basically got fired for that. Plus, he wasn't really doing that well as a president. He gets rehired by the WNBA, and NBA TV hires him. So, be careful. Be careful when you're quick to cancel somebody, the one without seeing cast the first stone. What do you think
Right.
about these players going crazy about that? Can you see a Draymond Green getting some kind of sexual harassment thing where he may have took something, or may have got a missed signal? I know he's married and all that. Are we going to kick him out of the league for getting sued?
Well, peer pressure is
Yeah.
is tough.
Believe, huh?
And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's that the media and the peers, like that's if they choose for you, then you're going to be okay. If they choose against you, you're not going to be okay. And
Yeah.
right now it's at a point where you are able to get a certain pass because you are a certain person.
Yeah.
And certain other people aren't able to get those passes.
Yeah.
And so there really is a big conflict of interest, I guess, in terms of that. It's like, hey, we're going to push for this, and this, but we're going to turn a blind eye to this.
Yeah.
And there's no continuity to it all. Ultimately, it's going to fall apart because it always does. It always does. I pay it no mind. I try my best not to. Unfortunately, it gets shoved in your face so much.
It does. It does. I try to get out. It pulls me back in.
Yeah, but I choose not to. I choose not to pay attention. Like I said, and when everybody was all up in arms about this, I'm like, listen, if you're in Philadelphia, win me a few championships, and then I'll consider listening to what maybe you have to say. Until you've done that, I really don't care. You're paid to win championships, and you ain't doing your job as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So then, spend as much focus on doing your job as I would need to focus on doing my job.
Right.
And that's what I care about. I don't need to hear what your political thoughts are. I got my own political thoughts, and I don't throw them on you.
Right.
And it doesn't matter that I've got $10 or $10 billion. I don't tell you how to live. Don't tell me how to live. And end the story. Everybody can be happy if they just minded their own business most of the time. It's just that people can't do that.
And you're a super fan. And this is what I tell my audience all the time, Jamie. That these sports, they bond people together. You hugging people that, some guy maybe from a different religion, a female if invited, an older person, Jamie, a younger person, different race, nationalities, age. That's what sports does. It's not this stuff. And usually my thing is, Pickle says absolutely. My thing is, it's usually the people who really have their own agenda, who do not like sports, your Twitter people, that really push all this stuff forward. And I wish that there would be more leadership, not just the ownership, just some of the players. And I think a lot of the football players agree with what we're saying, but they're too afraid publicly to say it, But I think a lot of them are good guys like Jim, Jim Jeffcoat. And, I think Brady's probably a pretty good guy. Magic's a good guy. I don't agree with Magic on everything. I don't agree with Magic on a lot of stuff. But I can respect Magic because he's a very respectful guy.
I think even the guys that are doing the talking are probably good guys that are getting, I know that LeBron is always pushed to say something. And he's always going to, how do I put this, toe the party line somewhere.
Yeah.
When it affects his dollars, when it affects his money, all of a sudden he'll say what he means and what he really feels.
Oh, you can say China. We could say China in here. It's okay. It's not a curse word.
But
all those shoes are made in China. And I tell Jim's a huge LeBron guy. I said, listen, I appreciate what he does with the school. I've talked to some guys from HBCUs that he gives to the historically black colleges. And I think that's a great thing. I think he is above that stuff. I just don't know why he feels the need to virtue signal is the word to kind of describe this. But I know he's got his own opinion. But part of me, I'm like you. I think it feels inauthentic.
I think that he's pushed to do it. It's because he's so revered in the world. It's not even just in the African American community. It's in the world. So he's got icon. Influence. He's got influence. It's like Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson has influence. Allen Iverson chooses not to talk about political views. I'm sure he's got some. He just chooses not to speak his mind. I don't think that LeBron gets afforded some of those luxuries. Even though because it's always, hey, you got to. And it's maybe he doesn't really need to. So
and he could have took on Michael Jordan and said, he said this in the documentary. I love that. I watched it like 6 times. He says, that wasn't my energy then. That's not my energy is winning. My energy is this. I don't even know this politician. Why do you guys want to get me? I know we went over. I was going to keep you a few minutes. Man, you're so good, easy to talk to. I just went through all my stuff here. I'm about to be done in like 1 minute, man. This is awesome, by the way. I appreciate. And by the way, if you want, me to come on Just send me the time now. I still work a day job. I've went from 12-hour shifts from 7 a to 8 p to 7 a to 3 p. That's Central Time. So a few minutes here and there, yeah, I could stop in one of your shows, man, on Saturday or whatever for a few minutes. And of course, we do the Sunday show as well. So
Right.
yeah,
No, I love doing this, and I'd have me on really anytime. Usually Wednesdays are a little louder because I'm at the bar. I am on a
yeah,
dart team, so I
yeah.
do my podcast from the bar, and it gets a little loud here. So,
Wow.
but every other day I have available. Sometimes I'm painted up though because I'm at the Phillies game, as you see that's
Yeah.
going on behind me here, and
Okay.
it's like
Are you
I'm
keeping up
never
with this
without
Aaron
Phillies
Judge
publicity.
thing?
Yes. I'm big on. I love watching home runs,
Yeah.
and I love watching history happen. And that's what this is. It's Aaron Judge is the first one in a long time to start to hit home runs like this and
Yeah.
be so far above everybody else. So, and when you have that type of greatness happening, you have to pay attention.
Yeah. Now, is he your home run leader if he hits 62?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no. Somebody's got to hit 74 home runs.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
care if it was steroids or not. I don't. Yeah, that's a whole nother hour-long talk.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you, brother. I got you. I'm just curious. I just wanted to get that quick.
yeah. It's like I think that what he's doing is amazing. He's going to
Yeah.
definitely have the AL record. He's going to probably hit about 64, is what I
Yeah.
gather. He's going to probably do, but I still it's Bonds that owns it. As much as I don't like that either. I'd rather somebody else own it than Bonds, but
Yeah. Mike
it's
Schmidt.
Bonds. Yeah, well, that would be great, but he only hit 48. I think was the most.
Hey, that dude's pretty consistent, man.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
But
So,
Jamie, I appreciate you coming on. I didn't mean to keep you the whole hour, but man, it's a lot of fun, brother. A lot of fun.
well, thank you very much for having me, and
Yeah.
let's do this again real soon.
All right. Have a good
Hey,
one.
you know what?
Thanks, guys.
Maybe we could do it. Maybe we could do it face to face in Tennessee
Yeah.
on the 22nd. So I'm going to be there on that Monday, I think, too, for a little while. So
Do you bring your laptop with you to these
absolutely,
okay.
I bring everything with me. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I can't stop. I can't help but go live. I love doing it. So
I'm invited to a tailgate for the University of Tennessee. They're playing Florida. It's a massive and I'm thinking, man, I got to think about the logistics and all that. So I'm thinking, what would Jamie do? He would go up there and figure it out.
I bring it. I went to the What the Buck tailgate when they were doing their Super Bowl tailgate,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I brought the whole laptop and literally walked around showing my laptop because I went live and
Yeah.
showed everybody what was going on with the laptop in tow. So I'm
Yeah.
not afraid. It's
And
what
these
you have to
batteries
do.
last about an hour and a half without nothing plugged in?
2 hours, and then if you're smart, you can get yourself a small little handheld device that you can plug into that would last it. I have one of those that lasts
Yeah.
an extra 3 hours.
I've got a tablet. I don't know. I just like to ask you all these technical questions. You got all the answers, brother.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do. Actually, as I'm doing this, I'm also doing the J&B Talking Shop over on this side too. I'm closing them up.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah. Oh, you're help running things for Mac. That's right.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they're just about to finish up as they got because we started a few seconds late because of I tried to hit the live button. I guess I missed it. So
Byron and the Giants and Dallas are playing this weekend.
they play this week, Monday Night Football. So it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Who wins that game? I think Dallas.
I have the Giants winning that one in a
You
game
hate
that's going to
Dallas.
be very hard. No, it's not that I hate Dallas. I think it's going to be very hard to score touchdowns,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to be a 15-13 game
You're taking
where
the
one
under.
team. Yes, definitely taking the under, and I think that it's like 5 field goals wins this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
All right, brother. Hey, man, have a good night.
you do the same. Thank you very much for having me.
See you, man.